And we're live.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Improve it.
I mean, about a minute I can prove it.
Okay, now I can see it.
Yep.
Horror Video
live.
TV, thanks, Yusuf. Also, I got to get rid of that like default Twitch zombie on our thing, but we so rarely get hosts. So, thank you, Yusuf, for letting us know.
I suppose it is my turn to be the MC, so to speak, the master of ceremonies, as I welcome you all to our game of Changeling the Dreaming, the chronicle being Dustbowl Blues. And I will be the storyteller for the first time, running a World of Darkness game. I'm sure all of you who are here are familiar with the CAF crew, and this time we are joined by Melinda, who will be playing, I believe, a Slua.
Let's
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? Let's specify this is your first time running WOD for the channel.
Yes,
you do run the home game.
Yeah, I have run, for our home games, I've run Inquisitor. So, hunting monsters, this time we get to be the monsters.
Also, let's make that alert box a bit bigger. Yusuf, you are a pimp, and we thank you.
Okay.
Who do we lose?
Yeah. Melinda got lost. You gotta wiggle your mouse around every once in a while.
Gosh, someone wants an explanation.
That is exactly what I was about to do. For those of you who are not familiar with Changeling the Dreaming, it is one of the many games in the World of Darkness line. So if you are familiar with Vampire the Masquerade, or if you're familiar with Werewolf the Apocalypse, or Mage the Ascension, Changeling the Dreaming takes place in that same world, and it's a little different in the fact that you are not the traditional horror movie monster. You are, in fact, one of the Kithane. You are a fairy who has decided to undergo the metamorphosis of being reborn in a human body. And the reason you do that is because the world is full of things that just want to suck the magic out of life, the wonder out of everything. And as a changeling, you want the world to flourish, you want it to have dreams, you want it to have hope. These are the things that make life essential in the absolute darkest of times. And where this chronicle is going is one of the darkest periods in human history, the Great Depression, specifically the Dust Bowl of North Texas. And before I go any further into the premise of this chronicle, which I have dubbed Dust Bowl Blues at Xavier's suggestion, I would like to have the troupe go over their characters' names as well as what they're playing. So, much like in Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf the Apocalypse, there are different kinds of changelings who have different functions in the worlds of dreaming and in the dreams of human beings. Many of them inspired by Celtic and Gaelic mythology, but in Xavier's case, taken from somewhere very different and much closer to us. So, Chaz, you are the first in line on the rotation from what I'm immediately looking at.
Okay, tonight I will be taking on the role of James Hutcherson, or as he is known to the Kithane, Ririd ap Liam. Ririd is a autumn she. He is almost the Ventru of the changeling world. Well, for now, until the really uppity up their butt she get back. Maybe he was more like a Lasombra of the changeling world. Hutch, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go. I was going to say the she are basically what people traditionally think of as almost Tolkien-esque elves. You know, they're tall, beautiful, graceful beings who are the nobility of the changelings and the dreaming and the denizens therein.
Hutch grew up very poor. He lived on a farm with his older brother, his father, his mother. And during the Prohibition, Hutch's father decided to take up shine running to help make ends meet. This went well for a number of years until sometime when Hutch was about 14 years old, his father's shipment was actually discovered, and his father was gunned down by the state police. His changeling chrysalis, his changeling half, Ririd awakened that same night. Eventually, Hutch's older brother Avery took over the shine running business with help of one of Hutch's childhood friends, Mooney. Unfortunately, Avery developed a taste for a drink himself and started getting a little too high on his own supply. He deals with crippling alcoholism until this day, and thus, in turn, the business was handed down to Hutch, who took it over as an... He felt it his responsibility to help provide for his family, provide for his aging mother, keep the decrepit old farm alive. As an Autumn She, as one of the few noble fae still on Earth during this time period, he was taken under the wing of the local Duke of... Where are we?
Right now, I will say you are in the magical place of San Antonio.
Oh, but it's the Duchy of what? Burning Sands?
Yes.
He was taken into the court of Duke Hidalgo of the Burning Sands, and currently serves as one of his squires. Did I forget anything majorly important? I'm pretty sure it'll come up
In the prelude. Yeah. For everyone else, you don't have to get as in-depth. We can
yes,
do
I
that
did.
in the prelude.
Sorry. Hutch eventually got out of the shine running business. He turned it over to Mooney, who is still in the business of criminality and serves as his criminal contact. But for now, Hutch took his money, went legitimate, and opened a general store. But his main priority is trying to guide Changeling society to the betterment of all of them.
Right, beautiful.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Melinda, would you like to tell us your character's name and what they are?
I'm actually letting Charlie do that because I'm horribly shy for no reason right now.
Okay.
And I know I'm bad at it. So.
You're not bad at it, but I will tell Josh what you said if you don't mind, because I think he'll find it flattering. Melinda confided in me the other night that she doesn't like to be one of the people to talk first because she feels like Josh is like a teacher, which is funny on a number of levels. But like she says, it makes her feel the same way she felt in high school. So I promised her that I would do the reading for her.
Josh has an intimidating teacher presence. I don't like it all the time.
I'm assuming you're the only one having that issue, Mr. McQueen. If somebody in chat, go ahead and tell him to reload. If anybody else is having an issue, let us know. But Yusuf can apparently hear us, so
I can see and hear.
Yeah, I can also see and hear us.
Also, yes, I am.
Well, I can't hear us, but that's because I have the site muted.
Okay.
You have
Tonight, Raven will be playing the role of Elena Covington, or Enva, who is a slua. Oh, Eleanor, that's right. Sorry. Eleanor Covington, who is a slua. Slua are fairies of darkness and nightmares. Eleanor herself is a 24-year-old librarian that retreats into books to escape the harsh realities of the Great Depression. She prefers books to people but enjoys casual conversation, though she seems shy and quiet. She loves adventure and likes to draw landscapes. Her chrysalis occurred at age 13 when one day she found she had literally withdrawn into one of her stories, a la Alice in Wonderland, whereupon she met her chimerical partner, a cat made of the stuff of dreams named Willow. Her goal is to eventually travel and find someone to share that with. Also, may I share a funny anecdote about her cat? As we were building it, she decided to give it an appearance stat. You don't have to give Chimera all the regular stats. She gave it appearance, and its appearance is 1. She insists that it's a lovely cat, and I won't take that away from you. It's your character. I won't take away any of your agency. But when she told me that, the only thing I could fucking picture was, "Hey, Ma, there's a weird fucking cat outside."
Pretty much. It's like, holy shit, what am I looking at? But it's so cute.
Well, there's a very sweet meat for like character interaction here because you're the Slua. Slua are kind of like goth changelings, and they're a little off kilter. So I imagine you think that you genuinely believe this cat is adorable, and we look at it like, what is that? A fucking amateur taxidermy? What did you do to that thing?
I mean,
Dude, something's wrong with your turtle.
Everyone else. I like sphinxes. I like oriental short hairs. Everyone thinks those cats are ugly, and I think they're precious, so it makes sense.
I forget what they're called, but there's I think it's called Lycoy cats. where they're like a new breed of short hair Persian cats, and they're just like these angry looking little gremlins with yellow eyes and like dark thick hair, and so they call them werewolf cats.
Yeah, I actually like those. I think those are cute too.
I can see why people will be like, that is an ugly cat, but I'm like, it's awesome. It's like a little wolf cat.
Yeah. They're a little worried about them because a lot of their new traits are dominant traits. So if they breed with other species, they're going to like slowly kill off the other species.
Mm.
I'm shedding a tear.
I mean, you may not like.
Oh yeah, we know who you are. I mean, if you'd prefer me to refer to you as John Smith the Fish, I can do that.
But Kyle, would you tell us who your character is and what they are? But to go back to Slua real quick, every changeling was originally dreamt by mankind in the time far beyond the cult of Mythic Age. And Slua were originally beings that were meant to punish bad children. Hence why they love shadows and secrets and stuff like that. And as part of their agreement with humanity, they could never physically harm a child, as part of scaring them into right behavior, until one Slua finally struck a child that simply could not be reasoned with, and ever since they have been unable to speak above a whisper. So much like in VTM, a lot of changelings also have a flaw that they have to indulge or something which hinders them in some way. And Slua cannot speak above a whisper.
My flaw is that I'm super pretty. Actually, I do have something that's kind of a boner. Hopefully, the camera feed doesn't fuck up when I open my character sheet, does it?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. People can become obsessed with me.
All right.
Hey, you just fool them on site.
That'll be fun in the evangelical North Texas. But Kyle, please regale us with your character and their kith.
All right. Well, I am playing Mr. Dilbert Boyle, just a humble ranch hand from North Texas. He, real small town life. Grew up there, started working. Then when all the crazy Dustbowl shit hit, pretty much made him not have a job. So he took to the rails and the hobo life, and the thrill of that first time jumping on a train, riding just anywhere, filled him with such whimsy. That's when he went through his chrysalis moment, and Crudar was born. And so now he just lives to travel, just journey anywhere, do whatever, just really experience life. And he's just wandering around now down in central Texas.
And
He's
I
a
believe
real simple gentleman.
I believe the kith you picked was the satyr.
Oh yeah, I am a satyr.
The beings
Just
of revelry
living-
and partying.
Yeah,
Quick for you, Tao Quinn. We are beings of dreams reincarnated into the bodies of people, and it is our job to keep the wonder from going out of life, to keep darkness, to keep banality from smothering all that we hold dear, and make sure people can continue to be inspired, continue to find joy, continue to... What's the word I'm looking for?
Find imagination.
That'll work.
Yes, to clarify, much like how Wraith has the Oblivion and Werewolf has the Worm, Changelings oppose a force called Banality, and Banality is just the aspects of life that drain human beings and everything within the world of any kind of wonder or whimsy or joy and hope, and essentially the one thing that was left at the bottom of Pandora's box that helps us get through this horrible day and these horrible years and decades that human beings are forced to endure. And as long as that spark of human hope and dreams and life is still around, the changelings can continue to exist, and the world doesn't fall to the long winter and the death of dreams and an eternal dark time.
I would say that a fish milk is as bad in Changeling as it is in Vampire. Also, thanks HCG, use a pimp.
Xavier, would you give us a brief summation of your character and what kind of a very unique Kithane you are? In fact, you are not a Kith at all.
No, I believe the term they use is Galane.
Yes, that is the term. Galane is a term that the changelings of Europe and the New World refer to changelings of non-European origin.
So it's pretty goddamn racist, but no. So I am playing Riker Redwind, or Mountain Walker as he is known to his people. He is an older character. I think he's only about, 100 at this point? No, like 120-ish. Is it like 1930 on the dot?
Yeah, I'll say it's 1932.
Okay. So yeah, he is a bit over 100, and well, the Nunehi are the Nunehi are changelings, specifically of the Americas, and he is Numuzoho. They are. What would be the closest comparison? No, because there's rock giants.
They're almost like they're like spirits of nature, but nature's aggression in a way.
Yeah, they're the vengeful spirits. So basically, like if you took the furry part out of a werewolf.
Yeah,
that's basically what the Nunehi are. They're tied to nature, and as such, they don't really get glamour from people, but the land, which is also not in the best condition right now.
Yeah, and they don't call it glamour either. Glamour is what changelings call like the magic within the world that they use to feed themselves and the powers they have. But I believe the Nunehi call it medicine.
Yes, I get medicine, and I get one more.
So you're a medicine man.
Yes, Tom, I am a medicine man. No, he is, I guess right now, he's a bit of a freelancer. He was with tribal police for a stint before, kind of tired of being on the sidelines for now. And I would give more, but I don't want to take up too much time. Adam, you're next.
You take up all the time you need, Xavier.
No, Adam, I want to fucking hear this. I want to fucking hear this, Adam.
I'm still thinking of my character. Just kidding.
And the crowd goes mild.
He said the thing.
Goes mild or wild?
Mild.
Mild, Adam.
Oh. The character's name is Paul Tinkerson. The fairy name is Kazaa. I am a knocker. Basically,
A Keebler elf.
Yeah, Keebler elf. Like I craft. My main focus is my main source of income is crafting. Yeah. Like fixing stuff that need to be repaired. Like lawnmowers or whatever they need to be fixed. I tinker with it till it works. Best bang it on the head a couple times.
I don't think. I guess technically there's lawnmowers, but they're like the whirligig style lawnmowers.
Yeah. The ones.
Well, by this point, farming has been a bit heavily industrialized, and that is part of the reason the Dust Bowl's happening.
But he's a knocker though, so he built the John Deeres.
Yeah. So I made a joke that Adam's character is a Keebler elf, but knockers are inspired by like those Germanic tales of like elves who come in the middle of the night into the cobbler's store and they make all the shoes for him and stuff like that. So they are changelings who are beings of repair and creation and machinery and stuff like that. So a knocker in modern times, as in 2020, might be something like a fairy who fixes cars and stuff like that. Not quite underpants gnomes. There are. I think there's another elf there's another changeling that more accurately fits like that kind of elf who goes in and helps people in the middle of the night. And that leaves Tom. Tom, would you give us a brief summation of your character?
Well, my name's just Mr. Jarston. Didn't have much of a childhood. Grew up in roaming from orphanage to orphanage until finally got picked up by some outlaws and got adopted into their kind of society.
Why does it sound a little familiar?
I don't know.
And I will start in the same way that I started the basic introductions with Hutch.
This is why you don't sit in the front row. All right, let's do it.
I was just going clockwise.
Well, that's because I like you.
Chaz,
What's up?
Yeah, that means I'm last.
you're the best student though, Chaz.
Yo.
Hey, thank you, Hot Trash.
This fucking
handing out
guy,
the
man.
club.
Holy shit. Hot trash, man. You're a fucking bro.
Pretty sick.
Before Chaz tells you not to throw money at us, I'm going to make him engage with the game. No.
Haha.
True.
Good option select.
Glenn did deserve that one.
So, Chaz, in order to start almost at the beginning, I want to know what about your children always made them a little bit different. There's always something, even in a child's youth, that separates them as a little different from the rest of their peers. And I want to know what that was for Hutch.
A little different than the rest of his peers. I like to think that maybe Hutch's nobility manifested, or like his fairy nobility and the noblesse obligée that comes with it manifested, but through his childlike mind, he didn't really know how to deal with that. So he was probably like the really bossy kid. Like just really trying to help, but it came off as like a little shit.
I remember being at a learning museum with my young niece when she was like barely getting into elementary school. And I remember they had like this little play supermarket set up for them at one point. And like all the kids are just banging plastic eggs and whatnot together. And my niece went in and started forming them into like an actual grocery store, saying, okay, you go to the counter and you do these buttons and you pretend to be the customer and I'll pretend to do this and stuff like that. And she turned random play into actual role play, I guess, for a grocery store. And I imagine that for somebody like Hutch, there's an innate leadership sometimes that you see even in children. And I suppose that's what it was for Hutch, that kid who always leads the gang.
Okay, we can run with that.
So we'll start with the night that your chrysalis happens. Was Hutch there when his father died, or was he at home?
No, at this night he was still on the farm. He was back with his mother. Sometimes he went with his father, sometimes he didn't. If his hands were more required on the farm, or if daddy's shipment was further out than normal. So on this particular night, word probably reached me more through the grapevine. Probably heard from my mother. She heard first and then told Avery, told me.
There's something in, perhaps it's a mother's intuition or a spouse's intuition, for when you truly care about somebody, that you could see in your mother's eyes, in Beulah's eyes, when your father was about to go on what should have been that regular shipment of hooch. And Beulah was begging Jebediah, "Hun, please don't go on that. Please don't go on that shine run. I got a bad feeling about this, hun." But Jebediah had to make that extra bit of money, because even if it's not the Great Depression quite yet, money in rural Texas can be hard to come by. Where do you think Hutch is, and did he trust his mom, or do you think Hutch felt like there was something else on the farm that needed to go and business needed to happen like usual?
Hutch is probably on the farm. He might be just outside the front door, tending what little plot of land is still fertile. He's probably overhearing the conversation. And, at this point, Hutch and his brother and his father, we've been doing this for years at this point. Maybe he picks up on it. Maybe the bad feeling that his mother's getting is kind of sending goosebumps down his neck. But at the end of the day, one, it needs to be done because the family needs money, and we were practically destitute. And two, Daddy knows what he's doing.
I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna use the bathroom.
Right.
How convenient!
Just hear that, oh, damn it, woman, you know nothing's gonna happen. How many times have I ran this shine? Avery, you know the business. You're the man of the house while I'm away. Avery gives a nod to his father. And your mother sits on that rocking chair on the front porch and just nervously starts rocking back and forth on it. She's like, your father shouldn't have gone. There's something wrong about tonight. Something feels wrong.
What's got your hackles up, Mama?
I don't know. You know that feeling you get sometimes, son? That feeling that just something awful's about to happen. I got it the same night your granddaddy died.
Mama, if Daddy doesn't go, something awful will happen. We're about to run out of food here. I'm doing my best with the harvest, but soil ain't what it used to be, Mama. You know that. We can't go into town for groceries. We're not going to make it another week.
That sheriff's son, he's been snooping around an awful lot. Times are hard now, but what are we going to do if your daddy ain't here?
We'll find a way, Mama. We always do. Me and Avery, we ain't going to let nothing happen to you.
Your mother stops rocking for a little bit in the chair and turns to you and gives you a warm smile as she pulls you in like she did when you were a little boy and just pushes your hair back with one hand and gives you a kiss on the forehead. She says, I know, baby. I know.
He'll be okay, Mama, I promise. Daddy knows these roads. He knows which way to go, which way not to go.
Your mama eases up a bit. She's waiting for your daddy to come home, but there's still things around the house that need to be done. Dinner needs to be made. Things need to be cleaned up. And Daddy's going to want to have a nice rest when he gets home, and Mama's going to make sure that everything's in order when he gets there.
I will...
But it takes... Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
Go ahead. No,
you go.
I was riffing off of you, man. This is you're in the driver's seat here.
This is your prelude.
I will finish attending to my duties in the field and start helping Mama with dinner, I suppose. I assume Avery is off doing something of greater import, something of the man of the house, or actually he's probably looking over the next batch of shine and getting that brewed up.
He's probably in the still, making sure that everything's coming along smoothly in the copper pots. And your mama just keeps looking out the window at the road that leads to the farm. And it is getting a little late. No, Daddy does know these roads, and excuse me, the drive is a little further off than usual, but he's usually back before the sun goes down, and that sun's definitely starting to set.
How's my empathy? My empathy is not too bad. I like to think that at this point Hutch is probably intuitive of these doubts. So I'll sort of go up behind her. You want me to fix your cup of tea, Mama? I know it always helps you feel better.
That would be lovely, dear.
I'll start digging out her favorite cup and Grandmama's old china pot.
You get the tea ready, and Mama finishes dinner. And she insists that you and Avery sit down to eat. But you see that even though she kind of messes with her food a little bit with her fork, takes a bite every now and then, she just doesn't seem to have the appetite to finish it. And at this point, the stars are coming out. The sun's completely set. It's that hour where the sky is turning from yellow to red to blue to purple. And Daddy's still not home yet.
I'm just going to look over at Avery across the table and, like, sort of just wordlessly implore, help me out here. I don't know how to make her feel better.
Avery turns to your mama, and he says, Mom, why don't we turn the radio on? You know, I think that preacher you like to listen to is on right now. You know he does his hour right about now. And he goes and he turns on the radio, and Mama smiles again, and the preacher man's on the radio, you know, sinners in the hands of an angry God. The dark times are ahead, and if anything, it only seems to reinforce your mother's sense of incoming dread.
I'll just give him a really.
As he kind of gives you a shrug, and if this night of all nights, the pastor decided he wanted to do his sermon on Revelations.
Mama, you want to go sit outside? It's a lovely night out. We'll go sit outside. We'll wait for Daddy together, and that'll make you feel better, won't it?
Mama nods her head, and she lets you take her by the hand and take her out to the front porch, where she starts rocking again and again.
I'm going to sit next to her, and I'm going to try to get her to sort of reminisce and retell all those stories she told me 100 times about when I was little, and all the ones that used to make her smile, all the ones that used to, like, bring back those happy memories.
You know, and it works as it does for many a loving mother. Is she laughs and smiles and regales you about the time, you know, you and your older brother were out playing in the barn, and one of you guys were just playing with rakes when you shouldn't be, and one of you got a huge scratch on the back of your head that's still there, but it's covered by your hair. When it finally seems that 2 headlights are coming back down the road that leads to the farm.
See, Mama, he probably just had to stop for gas.
And as the car starts to roll in, you see it's not your dad's familiar refurbished Model T. But it's the car that your mama says, that's the car that's been snooping around the back roads.
You want me to chase him off, Mama?
No, don't do that. Don't. Let's see what he's got to say. As you see, not the sheriff, but one of the deputies step out of the car. He's a rather young man with the slick back 20s hairstyle, very familiar of the time. You know, stuck to his head with bridal cream.
Tommy.
And he doesn't look like he's here to make trouble. In fact, he almost has a solemn look on his face. And he says, Mrs. Hutchison? I'm gonna,
I assume at this point my mother would be standing up and moving over to him, so I'm gonna stay close. I'm gonna move with her, mostly try to lend as much moral support as I can.
Mrs. Hutchison, there was a bit of trouble out on the road. Going back into town. There's no easy way to say this, but Jeb, he's gone on to be with the Lord.
Instantly, you go ahead.
Your mother's stuttering, trying to find the words to say something
right now, Hutch feels like he got punched in the gut. One, his father's dead. Two, he was swearing up and down to his mother that he'd be fine. He's clearly not. There's a heavy weight of guilt hanging over him. Almost like he led her astray. He tries to open his mouth to speak, but just nothing comes out.
As Avery comes, he's like, you bullshitting me, lawman. What you talking about?
You want to see him? He's in the trunk. Oh, I ruined the moment for my own prelude.
I swear, Avery, your pa, he was. You see, it was the tax man was snooping into some of your business. Your pa made a run for it, and he hit a bump in the road, and he was smoking one of his cigarettes, and well, don't play dumb, Avery. We all know what you're doing out here. You know how dangerous that stuff is to ship. Your father should have never gotten into this business.
Instantly, torn. Do I defend my father's honor and lie? Do I, I don't know what to say. Hutch is completely just gut punched right now. He's probably, again, intuiting his mother's emotions. He's gonna just put an arm around her and give her sort of a half-hearted hug. He's trying to support her as much as he can, even when he needs support himself. Turn your camera on.
As your mother just and falls to her knees, bawling her eyes out. I knew it. You shouldn't have gone out.
I'm sorry, Mama. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know.
Looks you right in the eyes, and she says, "But I did."
Again, just gut punched. Avery's broken at this point. He feels like he failed. Not grappling with the death of his father, but he feels like he specifically failed his mother.
What do you think that failure feels like?
Bitter, burning acid in the pit of his stomach. Just the most absolute god-awful shame and pain, obviously, on multiple levels. Disbelief.
The guy, the deputy says, "I know this is hard, but no, those investigators from the feds, they're gonna be here soon to look at what y'all left."
Again, I look over at Avery. Like, we need to get rid of Daddy's legacy somewhere they're not going to find it.
As Avery almost looks at you with that, "What do I do? What do we do?" As the deputy puts his hat on and says, "You all better do something. I was only here to tell you about what happened to old Jeb." As he gets in his car and drives off.
Avery, take care of Mama. I'm gonna handle Daddy's stuff.
Avery picks your mom off the dusty sand and picks her up by the shoulder and carries her back into the house. As you are heading into the old barn, where behind those empty horse stables are the copper sills that were used to make the shine.
Okay, so who's that now?
That's me.
Okay.
Sorry, my Discord's being an ass.
Boosting her real fast. Say something?
Hi.
All right, I'm gonna crank you up a little bit extra. I might regret that later. So immediately he's gonna take inventory of what's in front of him, and I'm thinking in 3 categories. What can I safely bury without it getting ruined? What can be passed off to look legitimate? Like what's repurposed? What's stuff that we might just have around the farm? And what am I just going to have to get rid of and find a way to replace?
There's a practicality to the moment and an urgency knowing the feds will be here any time to start tearing the place apart. Your father's gone. Avery's the man of the house, but he doesn't look like he's... That moment he looked at you, you knew that you were the one that was going to have to take charge here. And looking at the sills, the copper, that were your father's legacy, both the shine that took him, as well as the shine that put food on your table, quite frankly, when the farm wasn't doing well, there is a sense of obligation and legacy. And part of you knows that you know what you're going to have to do. And that maybe you'll always know what you have to do. As you start remembering other trying times back in your history, back to times where you led your gang of farm children on their adventures, playing pretend, making castles out of old corrugated sheet metal. And you start to think of real castles too. And those castles seem real too. And they keep coming. And the memories of another life. As this is the moment that James Hutcherson remembers his time as Reared Oplium.
At first, I probably think I'm going crazy. I feel as though the death of my father just finally snapped, and then as Reared begins to awaken, as the two consciousness become one, it starts to make a little too much sense. And then I sort of understand.
Are there any arts or legacies that you could use to help you handle the situation? As an almost primordial aspect of your being becomes reawakened, and the possibilities of what needs to be done aren't limited by immediate human thought.
I could. I have both the arts of sovereign and contracts at my disposal. I might be able to talk to the feds when they get here, get them to avoid this building. If I can talk them into making an agreement that would benefit, well, that would benefit me in terms of having a hiding place, I could use the dreaming to make sure it was enforced.
Which one of those two would you prefer to go with? As you hear another car starting to pull into your driveway.
Reard's contracts are higher. He's probably more comfortable in that art. So what he would do is do his absolute damnedest to get that stuff covered. And I guess try to intercept the feds that are coming to do their investigation.
As of now, it's one Fed. The lead investigator with the man driving him around is the first to pull up. And to sort of expedite the process a little bit so we can be sure to get to everybody's preludes, I want to know what is this regal moment as the noble Rearhead Atblium is reminded of his majesty and his legacy and his sovereign over others and his knowledge of the laws of not only the realm of mortals but the realms of dreams. As the Fed, the lead investigator on this moonshine case, slams that car door shut.
The hutch is still broken. But Rearid, saddling up his noblesse oblige and realizing that his family needs him in this moment, needs him to be the leader that he is going to just suck that deep down. He steps out to meet the Fed, his shoulders square, his body language projecting an aura of complete confidence and complete control. And he's going to meet the Fed. He's going to talk with him, walk with him as he goes, and at some point, when we reach where I've hidden my father's equipment, Hutch would probably say something to the effect of, "Now you're not going to dishonor the memory of my recently dead father by accusing me of hiding of shine running equipment in there. You're not gonna traipse around this place and bring my mother to despair, tearing our house apart looking for that stuff. And if I can at any point get a semblance, a shadow of an ascent from that, I can sanctify it by the dreaming with my art of contracts."
The man arrives, the investigator comes out, and you are the first man there before your brother has a chance to come out, before your grieving mother even has a chance to see him. And you go up and you immediately start talking to him. You start railing him with the how dare you show up here, as the man is trying to just get in a word with you, and saying this is an investigation, boy. You know what your father was doing, and you get to the topic of your mother, your family, or a grieving widow, and you say, how? This is a strictly investigation, boy. You know I'm not here to hurt your mother. You know I wouldn't do that.
And there it is. And that's all I need. At which point, Rearid would just look him in the eye and say, "It is done." He will expend his glamour. He will call upon the dreaming to sanctify the oath.
And with that, Rearhead Aplium, the mortal Hutcherson, has lost a father, but reawakened to his legacy as one of the Autumn She. And for the moment, he has protected his family, although he does not know what is to befall him in the next couple of years with his brother's alcoholism. And as the feds drive away, you hear the neighing of a horse, almost seeming to materialize out of the ether. You hear a Spanish accent behind you, like, well, little one, mi amigo. I was not expecting to see one of our kind out here. I am sure you have lots of questions. Yes? See?
Rearid is fully awakened at this point. Would he recognize him as one of the Kithane?
I will say there is that primordial understanding I spoke of earlier, as Rearhead's story continues to play out from here, but his chrysalis is complete.
Several, and now the sir, and you are. Sorry, I'm not trying to make this go any longer.
No, it's okay. You hear, I am me llamo is Duke Hidalgo.
My liege.
As the teacher turns his eye to Eleanor.
Oh, you're being called on.
I am.
You can do it!
You don't have to. I know you consider yourself a novice to the world of tabletop role playing, Melinda. You don't have to be as intense or role play as much as Chaz did. If you want, you can just tell me what you think or what you are imagining, rather than having to act it out. If that makes you feel more comfortable.
Okay. I mean, I very much don't really know where I'm gonna go because my character isn't as exciting, I guess, if you want to call it that. I just kind of threw shit together, if I'm gonna be honest with you.
There is much imagination in the world of improvising. So I will repeat the same question that I asked Chaz. What do you think there was about one Miss Eleanor Covington that always made her a little different?
Like in the town or family-wise?
Just her as a person. It can be her. If you imagine her as Belle from Beauty and the Beast, like, why is that girl reading?
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly kind of where I went with it, to be honest with you. Everyone else was like always like really like sociable and like a lot of the girls just like always like wanted to be with boys. Not really me. My mother, I guess, kind of egged it on, but I just kind of ignored her.
Ah, I see. You ignored the boys, did you?
Want to be with the beast?
Also,
So-
can you guys hear my computer freaking out? I'm really afraid that that's coming through on the mic.
I can hear
I
nothing.
can't really hear anything. Yeah,
Nope.
I can't hear anything.
You're good.
Okay, good.
So even though they're a little rarer than most children, there are children who prefer the company of books to people. But I imagine for Eleanor, it was a little more intense.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. She's a witch, burner.
Charlie,
I-
you need to mute when I talk
Yeah.
because there's go.
So going back to popular media, there are those moments like in the Never-Ending Story where a child opens a book and that book comes to life. And for Eleanor, that's probably what it was like. There was that element of after that first page, that first sentence, that first paragraph, that first page, where the rest of the world seems to disappear. And the world wrought within those pages, those words, the way they flow from one into another, just takes over like a wave in the ocean. And reading Treasure Island, you find yourself on sandy shores. Or reading Dante's Inferno, you find yourself at the mouth of hell. But this time, Eleanor has a book by one man called Lewis Carroll. Where is it that Eleanor liked to read?
I mean, more often in her room.
Is there a special place under the covers, in a special chair by the windowsill?
In the windowsill.
So sitting by that windowsill, opening Alice in Wonderland, or Through the Looking Glass, I believe is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Eleanor is transported with Alice to Wonderland, down the rabbit hole, through the looking glass, and into a world where cats talk, rabbits have somewhere to be, and a Red Queen likes to tell people what to do. And as Eleanor continues to read...
Can you hear Melinda right now?
I think so. Yes, I can.
Sorry,
Okay.
my Discord's being an asshole with the camera, so it keeps like going on and off. Sorry about that.
It's okay. And as Eleanor continues reading, and this book takes on a life of its own, and her room turns into Wonderland. She reads about the characters and their adventures, and as she imagines the novel playing out in her mind's eye, there's almost something she keeps seeing at the corner of her eye that just sticks out to her that it's not supposed to be there. It's not part of this story. It's not part of this book, and every time she tries to look at it, to turn away from the page, it's not there anymore. What do you think? What do you think Eleanor would do about that?
Is it like in the corner of the room? Like, I guess I'll probably go look for it.
Yeah,
Like maybe check under furniture and things like that.
So as Eleanor looks under her bed, she sees two yellow eyes looking at her, and she feels like she's falling. And she lands upon
The Harry Potter basilisk.
a mushroom, which stops her fall. And she realizes she's not holding a book in her hands anymore.
Okay.
Going LSD.
As you hear, lost, are we?
Who are you?
That's a very good question. I don't think I have something like that quite yet. Who is anyone? Who are you?
My name's Eleanor.
Eleanor. Are you sure?
Yes.
You don't look like an Eleanor. It almost seems as you try to locate where the voice is, it always seems to move right out of sight. And this is Eleanor, Eleanor, Eleanor. Are you sure?
Yes. Oh, sorry, Josh. Hang on.
It's okay.
There you go.
The technocracy was okay with us looking at stuff about vampires. Now we're just. Oh, my mic was muted. There goes my joke.
I could hear it a little bit from Melinda's camera.
I'm not sure what else I would be called. What do you want?
Did you hit your head on the way down here?
Maybe. I don't even know where I am.
As you hear, I think you've been here before. I seem to remember you, but I feel like I'm new.
I don't know this place. I don't think I know you.
But you seem like you belong. I think I belong too.
I'm not sure how that's possible.
Well, a lot of things that seem impossible are possible. I thought somebody who read books would know that.
I guess you're not wrong.
You know, I don't think I am. One of those things. You think I could have it? That thing you have that people call you?
A name.
A name. I think a name would be nice.
Okay. I've always liked the name Willow.
That's a tree, isn't it? It's a very sad-looking tree, a very droopy-looking tree, but I bet it's nice to sit under a hot day.
Yeah. They can be.
So my name's Willow, you hear the voice say.
Yes.
Do you know what I am?
If I can't see you, I can't really make that assumption.
Could you imagine what I look like? I'd like to know what I look like. I'd like to have a look to have.
I've always liked cats.
I could be a cat. People like cats.
Most people, I think.
As right in front of you, there is just a cat sort of slyly floating in the air. What kind of color is the cat?
I guess I'll make it a calico, black and orange.
So a black and orange cat is just sort of slyly floating in front of you, defying all known laws of physics, yet it doesn't seem out of place. Perhaps that's your love of reading that just makes you a little more open to the realm of possibilities, but in this place you find yourself.
Take, Josh?
Huh?
What kind of drugs you made me take?
It's a drug called imagination.
Kyle. That's not a calico, but okay.
My name's Willow.
Okay, yeah, that is a calico. Sure, why not?
Carol is now the pivot leader.
As the cat says, my name is Willow, and I'm a cat. Your name is Eleanor, and you're a human, but both of those things seem wrong.
I mean, you look like a cat to me. I'm pretty sure you look human.
Oh, no, not me, but... Do humans... Are they always so bendy?
I mean, not everyone, I guess.
As you kind of realize that you're standing up, but in a weird way, it feels like you don't have a bone in your body.
Jello.
As you kind of hold up your hands, and you kind of bend your fingers back, and you keep bending them back until you feel like your finger can touch the back of your hand, and it does. And you just keep bending your hand back, and the back of your hand can touch your arm, and that just doesn't seem natural.
That's weird.
Noodle eye.
And as you say that's weird, it's almost like your voice is completely gone.
Do you know what's happening to my voice? Again?
As the cat says, I can hear you perfectly fine. But it does sound a bit like you're whispering, I suppose.
That's not good. Maybe I'm sick.
There is a sickness. Not in you, but everywhere. Don't you remember it? And you do remember a sickness. There's a sickness everywhere. There's a sickness in the people around you. That part of them that looks at you reading a book and thinks, what a waste of time. There's a sickness in the part of people when they look at you and they say, a girl shouldn't be wasting her time reading. And there's a sickness in people when they look at you and when they look at others and they can't imagine anything different than what they're used to. And you remember that sickness has a name. And it's called banality. And you remember you have a name too. You have another name.
Okay.
As the cat asks you one more time, are you sure Eleanor's your name?
I actually don't know anymore. I'm remembering another name.
And the cat asks, what's that other name?
Enva? I think that's what it was.
And for a brief moment, it all comes back to you. The darkness. caves, bugs, bats, shadows. All of these things remind you of home. And they remind you of what you are. And you remember others like you. You remember there's fanciful creatures. There's creatures like this cat, but not like this cat. They're beings like you, but with the parts of animals. And there's elves, noble elves. And you're a part of them. And you remember that thing has a name too, and that thing is a slua.
I'm a jelly fairy.
A shadow jelly.
As the cat sort of floats down into your lap where a book would usually be, and says, I think Enva is a much better name than Eleanor. But I'll call you Eleanor if you want.
Sure.
I think it's time to go back to your other home, Eleanor.
Might be a good idea.
And as you say that, you're back in your room, on top of your bed, or perhaps by the windowsill where you remember reading. But Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is on the floor, and in your hand is perhaps a somewhat mangy-looking, black and orange, calico cat.
I have a pet.
And thus,
Well, didn't you come out nice? My dad died.
Well, that sucks for you now, doesn't it? Don't make your freaking character.
You did the back. You did the back Chaz.
And you basically killed your dad. I don't.
Eleanor! Give
All right,
me
now-
touch.
You know what? I think that cat is so ugly that it's actually cute. So.
You know what? I second that. All right, teacher, grade her presentation.
think she did well.
I do too.
I'm okay, but thank you. Charlie had a whole fucking series.
I did not know where Josh wanted to end that, so I was just kind of bouncing back and forth. All right, Dad's dead now. Is that the end? No. Okay, no. I'm okay. Now I'm the elf. Okay, is that the end? No. Okay, I got to deal with the feds. Okay, how do I deal with the feds? Well, let's deal with the feds.
I was going with it as long as you were willing to roleplay. Essentially, you.
My dude, you've met me, right? We'll be here tomorrow if you do that.
That's why I cut it off at the feds.
Good call.
And now we have the next presentation from Teacher Josh. I am calling upon Kyle to do his book report.
You got this, Kyle.
I'll give her homework.
Who, much like in high school, finished it several minutes before the stream.
Is that true, Kyle? You used to do your reports last minute?
Partly. I mean, I did them in segments. I did like half the character, and then I finished up all the little things that I didn't know.
I'm sure
But
much
it-
like... Oh, go ahead.
It'll be interesting, because a lot of this is randomized.
What was it about Gilbert Boyle that always made him a little different?
Gilbert always had a bit of a nose for snooping, and couldn't just let secret go unknown. He also always had a flair for kind of leaving his mark on something. Like if he was going to make something or do something, it always had to have a little accent that was specifically his.
The old Boyle touch.
Pretty much. Put a little gilly on it.
So describe to me the farm that Gilbert Boyle used to work on. That he was a farmhand on.
So it's just a pretty standard ranch farm sort of thing. Grew up small. Yeah, it had both. The primary thing was he took up the ranch hand life primarily because he wanted to travel more than anything, kind of just be able to mosey around, and while being a ranch hand certainly had its hardships. Growing up in a small town, like real small town, there's really nothing else to do. But like, he didn't do it for the money. He really just liked roaming around, doing his own thing, and he did his work. But the fact that he got to travel around the area was all he really craved.
People might not expect about the ranch hand life that Gilbert Boyle probably saw that others didn't, was that beauty of the Texas landscape. There were the mesquite trees, the oak trees, the arroyos, and sometimes in the distance the mountains and the rivers. And there was always something different lurking behind each one of them. Always something new to uncover, maybe a song that you could whistle, or just a joke you could play on one of your fellow ranch hands. Until one day, you come back on the farm for 60s rock's sake. I'll call it Maggie's farm.
I dig it.
And one of Maggie's sons is there, waiting for you all to bring the cattle back into the pens where they stay for the night. You can tell he's got a bit of stink in his eye, as one of Maggie's boys always does. He's got a little bit of dip in his lip, and he's just eyeballing all of you as you're all putting the cattle back in the pens.
Why so cross, boss?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I mean, that's why I'm asking.
You finish putting those cattle in, boy, and I'll tell you.
Yes, sir. Keep guiding them in. Do my thing.
As the last of the steers is put back